Hello, and welcome back to another episode of Podcast Assemble, show where you come for your rambling geeky download. My name's Tommy, and I'm delighted, as always, to be joined by my friend and co-host who is across the pond. It's our resident revolutionary of the pod, DL. How are you?
Good, man. I'm realizing I think you're across the pond.
Oh my god!
I'm in the homeland. You are across the pond, theoretically.
Well, yes. Well, yes. So you're trying to say that I'm a convict in this scenario? Is that where we're going with this?
Yeah, and I'm a rebel. So,
I tell you what's super interesting. I was watching a thing about way off topic immediately, as we always do on this podcast. I was watching a thing about this just the other day about this perception of Australia being for convicts only and been around like the worst of the worst. But apparently, it was just a socioeconomic thing, an economics thing, as in the British, as part of the empire, had Australia, and they literally couldn't get people to move over here. They were like, people just don't want to go to the other side of the earth. No shit, Sherlock, in that day and age. And it was a case of they basically just changed all the laws so that you were like, for like petty theft, for example, they changed it so it was significantly harsher. So they'd be like, let's say you stole, I don't know, a loaf of bread. Let's say something ubiquitous. You steal a loaf of bread, and it's like, okay, well, you can either go to prison for this ridiculously high length of time, 20, 30 years, for stealing a loaf of bread.
Or you go to Australia, mate.
Yeah, it's like they're not the worst of the worst at all. It's actually more just, they basically moved the freaking goalposts. So I feel like there's this big...
I'm sure there's a bit of both. I don't think they were all bread.
I'm not saying absolutely everyone was that, but like just an economic thing. They had to try and keep the ticking over here. And then obviously they found gas and oil, so that went well. Yeah. That's off topic. How are you doing?
I'm good, man. I'm good.
You are in a homeland. Is it cold?
No. I was in your proper homeland though. It's starting to in Manchester earlier this last week. It's starting to get cold. Like today, I went to get coffee and I just only had like a sweater on. And I was like, okay, well, if I was out here for much longer, I might put a jacket on.
Speaking of cold, we were in Melbourne this week seeing friend of the show, Jackie and Joe, who I don't know if you've noticed, but congrats to the two. They've announced they're pregnant, which is very nice. So we went down to celebrate with those guys, and not dissimilar to going back to the UK. Like I forget how cold Melbourne is. Like I'll pack and I'm like, oh, it's fine, and I'll just put like a jumper in my bag. I'm like, a jumper's enough, and you get there and you're like, a jumper is definitely not enough.
Yeah, it can get cold though, and it can happen quickly.
So quickly. 4 seasons in one day happens all the time. How was Manchester? Did you go for drinks?
Yeah, one night we went out for a bit. I couldn't tell you what bars we went to be honest.
Speaking of friend of the show, Joe, we could have given you some very good recommendations. You could have hit all the old haunts, all the places we used to go when we were in our youth, significantly younger men than we are now.
Yeah, next time. I was coming from Chicago, so it was like a pretty long week.
Oof, but you were pretty KO'd when you got there.
Yeah, I was just, jet lagged, and then it was conference season, so you're just standing all day. I feel bad for these retailers.
That sounds great.
You're just like, people that work in retail, it's a tough gig. You're just standing all day.
All day. I once did a job, the brand Superdry.
Yeah, that's also a beer.
Right. The clothing brand over here, or over there. I once worked the Christmas shift for a brand. I was come home from university or something, and it was, I can't tell you how bad the experience was. I'd never had an experience as bad in my entire life. I probably worked the 2 months leading up to Christmas, and they just didn't pay me. I was supposed to be on like a weekly payment thing, been part-time, whatever. And I was like, I went to my boss, I was like, it's like a week before Christmas. Like, dude, I need to buy my family presents. What the fuck is wrong with you? Are you like Scrooge here? Like, what is happening? Are you about to be visited by the ghost of Christmas past? And he was like, I'm so sorry, I've been trying. I'm like, clearly not hard enough. It can't be that difficult, you absolute dumbass. So yeah, I have it's like a visceral dislike for the brand now because of this one experience. Do you have any of those? Have you ever had that before? Where you're like, or even the other way around, where you're like, I love this brand because they did something great.
I'm sure I do. I can't think of it off the top of my head. I mean, there's a lot of like things that Audible kind of pisses me off, but there's no alternative. So they've got like
why Audible specifically?
Because like they keep changing the rules. Like you can pause it once every 2 months. Then I pause it. Like you've already paused it. Like you've only paused it at once every 3. And then they have 4 different stores because I've moved across country, and like
Big
certain books on different stores I can't access, even though I bought them. I have to buy them again. It's just like, it's way too hard. They're clearly doing something to like make more money, to make it more difficult for authors, like based off region. Whereas Spotify, it's like pretty simple.
Yeah, Spotify's pretty good.
But you have to like top up, and I can't pay. I haven't decided when I'm going to convert to from Audible to Spotify. They definitely have me locked in because I've got a bunch of books in there, but one day it'll happen.
I'm enjoying Spotify. It's pretty good. It's not too bad at all. I'm pretty locked in. Currently doing my audiobook of Empire of Silence, whatever it's called right now. I'm chipping away at it. Chipping away.
It's so like you only have like half a book though before it runs out usually.
Dude, it's so frustrating. I remember I was doing a re-listen of Twattum. Twattum. If anyone has listened to our episode on The Will of the Many, go back check it out. It's a doozy. I really enjoyed that episode.
Next month.
One of my all-time favorite segments where you drunkenly reached out to the author. So check out that on our Instagram. It's literally one of my favorite things you've ever done. And I was doing a re-listen to it, and I just got to like one of the very best parts, and it was like, "You have run out of your Spotify audiobook credits. Do you want to pay for some more? You want to pay for more?" And I was like, "No, Spotify, I already pay you enough."
I think there should be like a higher edition where you have more. Maybe there is, and I don't even know it. But where you have more minutes for things like that, as opposed to me having to like top up every time I want it, because that feels a bit.
Would you swap out time listening to 80s hair metal in the gym for more audiobook minutes?
Of course I would, but I don't listen to much 80s hair metal. It's mostly prog rock, but
sorry, prog rock in the gym. I knew it was one or the other. Guys, if you want to listen to us talk about our week, please feel free to stick around. There will be time codes in the description, as always supplied by Mr. Matthew Bliss of mbpod.com. He's the best. Check out his stuff. We'll give you the links to him at the end of the show. And while you're down there, skipping around, not listening to us talk about audiobooks, feel free to give us a 5-star review or subscribe. All the things. We'd love it if you would. This is still a new format for us. We are still new to YouTube. So if you haven't subscribed and you're listening, please do. It's going to help us out massively. We still don't really know how algorithms work, but we know that stuff helps. So please, 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 please do. DL, question for you. What have you been up to?
Well,
there was a weirdly dramatic pause there. I'm not sure why I waited so long. Just to throw you off balance, make you think I was freezing.
You're really building the anticipation for my last week.
Building tension.
Traveling to God knows where. I've been doing a lot of travel for work.
Have you caught up on any good shows while doing that?
I watched season 1 and most of season 2 of Sopranos.
Ooh.
So I never finished it. I got to like season 4.
No, I'm very similar. I think I've watched the first season and I have no reason for not finishing it. So talk to me. Tell me about Sopranos.
Yeah, same. I think I just like, I think I lost an HBO subscription or something and it just fell through the cracks. But now I have one again, so I'm watching it and it's really
back,
good.
baby.
I'm rewatching. And I don't really remember what's happened for a lot of it. I remember certain moments, so it's like kind of a fresh watch. And yeah, I attest. Like I understand why it's so heralded. It's quite a good story. It's fun, hilarious, dark.
HBO does the best things, man. It's great.
It's like classic.
Wonderful.
Yeah, HBO for sure. Chris is such a fun character.
Oh, you like Chris? I found him really annoying. I'll not talk about it, but just throwing in there.
Well, he's meant to be.
There's of course. There is a new show out with Mark Ruffalo, and it's called, I want to say, Task. And we watched the first episode. I don't know how HBO does it. I don't know what they do differently, but like, obviously it's incredibly well written and it's incredibly well created, and there's just something HBO about it that just levels it up. You know what I mean? Like it's just got a something to it. DL.
I think they just have really, really strong character work. Like they're all their best shows. Like the characters are deeply grounded in like something they want or something they're struggling with, and like they're all human heart in conflict with themselves type characters, or flawed.
Totally agreed. One episode into Task, and you've 100% seeing that already. Like with all the characters, actually. Yeah, they do good character work, don't they? But there's like technically there's something about it as well that just levels it up from other TV shows. And we talk a lot about Netflix and using CGI, AI, all the things. It just feels real. There's a realness to it. Like I remember watching the first series of True Detective in a time not that long ago when people were using way too much CGI, just using real locations. Why is that so different? I mean, obviously for like smaller filmmakers and studios, like the costs can spiral, but like there's just something so magical about it.
Yeah, I think it's just expensive, and HBO's got the budget, and Netflix is more about like pushing out a lot of stuff. So there's a cost scale thing.
Crank that Soldier Boy.
It's a different model, really. I think.
I like you just skipped straight over my my retelling of the Soldier Boy mythology there, just to. I just didn't fancy.
I honestly missed it. What should I? What should I comment on?
Paying attention.
I was busy talking about.
I was giving you the Soldier Boy.
Yeah, the Soldier Boy. What a beautiful. I appreciate you, Tommy, for bringing that bit of pop culture up at the right appropriate time. Completely connected.
At the end of my workday, man, my brain is just melted. I'm just like, I don't know. I've lost
connected
time
to what we're talking
reality
about.
And sense. So talk to me then. Sopranos. Tell me more. Like, where are you up to? What are you loving so far?
I think Chris is about to get made. Like in the next couple episodes. They just got back from like Italy. He's brought over his homie.
I think it's pronounced Italy.
Yeah, Italy. They just got back from Italy. That makes sense. He's got his boy Furio, who's come over. He like basically bartered a deal to get some new blood from the motherland into his crew. Yeah, it's good. How about you? What have you been watching?
Probably not going to talk about it right now, but very similar in terms of themes and backgrounds. We watched The Godfather the other day. God, I love that film. We'll probably come back to that in a minute. And confusingly, not confusingly, interestingly, the first time I think I've seen it in its entirety. So I'll tell you about that next time. But fucking good film. Talking of TV shows, I just finished the current versioning of Alien Earth. Have you heard about this on Disney?
I haven't watched it at all, but I've heard good things.
Yeah, right. Okay. I had a really good time with it. And I know a couple of friends of the show, friends of Chris, friends of Ollie, just obsessed. I know friends of Chris obsessed with Alien anyway. He loves it regardless.
So he's one of those.
But it is, oh my God, it was genuinely really good. Like all the things you were just talking about, great character work, really interesting setup, really different. So it is set apparently before the original Alien movie. And it's got a really interesting expansion of the Alien lore, and sort of obviously Yutani is the main corporation that you hear about when you're watching the Alien films. Builds out other ones. It's got like a good dynamism to it. There's some really interesting core elements it brings. So there's the synth cyborgs and there's human evolution. There are just some really interesting deepenings of said lore. I really enjoyed it. If I had any criticisms of it, I would say it maybe shows the xenomorphs a bit too much, a bit too early. There's a bit too much of that. I would have quite liked a bit more mystique to them and a bit more, but I'd like to talk to you about it when you've finally got around to seeing it, because there's some things about communication in it. I'm not going to say any more, but it, for me, completely recontextualized how I watched the film. I went back, I was talking with a friend of the show, Chris, and I was like, did you think about it this way, the way X was communicating with Y? And he was like, holy shit, I didn't. My perspective on it has now just made me want to go back and rewatch the films so I can go, does that make sense the way I've perceived that? So it's good. I really enjoyed it in that respect. Like I say, maybe showed their cards a little bit too early with the xenomorph, but really needs a second season. It finishes at a place where you're just like, I was almost a bit frustrated with how it ended, because I was like, this is the prime moment. Like let's go. And they didn't.
So it's a prequel, and I'm assuming it's a type of prequel that informs the entire world in a good way.
To my understanding, it's prequel. Forgive me if I'm wrong. Call me out in the comments. Let me know if I am chatting absolute garbage downstairs. My understanding is a prequel, and so it's a very good point, because
that's a pretty big change. Because like they were always like, we need to keep it away from Earth, right? And so I'm assuming the aliens make it to Earth. It's like if it's called Alien Earth.
Well, that's what I'm confused by. Yeah. So look, I don't want to give too much away for you because if
Okay,
you do
I'll
want to
watch.
watch it,
Yeah, I'll
but
watch.
there are different, as I mentioned, so there's synths and cyborgs in this, and the synths that I won't talk too much about, they are strong enough to kill an alien. So there are opportunities there for them to do that job if they wanted to wipe the aliens off Earth. But it's more about the
Right.
power dynamics of these huge businesses, these huge conglomerates that are just own pretty much all of the Earth. They've basically cut it up into sections. It's like, this is
Yeah.
Utani's, this is yours, this is yours. And it doesn't even focus on Utani, which I thought was an interesting perspective and really liked when you get to know the guy who's, I'm not going to call him the antagonist, but he is one of the main characters, who is this tech prodigy. Actually, he's called Prodigy. It's great. It's a great almost satire of that Zuckerbergian, Muskian mishmash of weirdness. So yeah, I think you'd really enjoy it.
Cool. It's on the list for sure. I mean, I've seen all the other stuff, so I might as well.
Yeah. Oh, good. It's a good one if you're doing a lot of travel and stuff. I think it's got enough action, but it also enough character moments. I think the character moments actually stand out pretty nicely in this. It probably could have been, I think it was 8 episodes. It could have been 6. There were a couple in the middle that were a bit like,
It's always the way of it.
I feel like a lot of shows like that at the moment. Yeah, there are a lot of shows that, at least this one doesn't necessarily feel like it should have been a movie and they've just like grabbed that and stretched it out, like it does feel like it should be a TV show. I think. Is that the lowest boundary for energy this time? Is that our like ground floor at this point? It should actually be a story.
At least it feels like the right format. The right medium.
They feel like they didn't take the piss with this. What else you been doing, buddy? What's been happening?
I've been reading about Egypt because we're going there next week.
Ooh.
But like it's kind of hard. There's just so much to read about. So
I love Egypt. Grew up loving it as a child, and all the new stuff that's coming out about it. I actually just watched a Joe Rogan clip about they were talking about the recent discoveries under the pyramid where they think it's like spirals or something. I think you might have sent it to me. I was watching a clip of that again, and all of it's so interesting.
It is, and it's pretty wild. I don't think we'll ever get the truth of it. Egypt's kind of
it's really sad. It's really sad that there wasn't more. I mean, in a time where, let's be honest, most people were illiterate, couldn't write. It makes sense. Like, you get it. It doesn't make it any less frustrating. I don't know why I've gone Italian here. Don't know why it makes it any less frustrating.
Yeah. So I'm reading a couple books on that, like some lectures. I was like, what do I do? I was like, I'll just listen to this guy's lecture history on the history of Egypt, so I can get it all into context, and then
nice.
go from there. But
who's the dude?
Let me pull up Audible real quick. It's
I'm intrigued. So I'd love to learn more. One of the things I've started doing is, and we've talked about this, I think, even on the podcast, I've created like GPTs for micro learning in ChatGPT. So I'll just chuck in, I'll be like, what do I want to learn about? I want to learn about Egypt, and I'll put it in, and it'll be like, what? So, and I've made it so it will ask me, what level do you think you are? Beginner, medium, expert? And it will tailor information it's giving me to that. Then give me little tests at the end. Basically, a better version of one of those stupid apps that end up being $100.
Yeah,
Who's
it's
the
called
guy?
The History of Ancient Egypt, Professor Bob Breyer.
Ooh. Is it good?
I mean, it's a lecture series, but he knows what he's talking about. It's not like, it is
I hope so.
Exactly what it is. It's not like super engaging all the time, but it's not boring.
Okay. Interesting.
I like it for what it is.
Look, you know this about me. I grew up with Indiana Jones. I always wanted to be an archaeologist when I was a kid. So I'm like constantly thinking, I want to learn more about this. I would love to go there and just start. And I know you can't just go and start a dig, but like, wouldn't it be great to go and do a dig in Egypt and find something phenomenal, like a lost pyramid or whatever? A lost, I don't know, mummy. It'd be the best. It'd be so great, but just don't read from the Book of Amun-Ra. Whatever you do,
yeah, seriously,
the gold book, don't read. Don't read from it. Don't do it.
It's dangerous. It's very, very dangerous.
I think I mentioned last time out, I was gonna tell you about that Naked Gun continuation, whatever it is.
It means nothing to me, Naked Gun. So I'm keen to hear from you who it means something to. Like, it's kind of just
right. So you didn't grow up with it?
No.
Oh,
not even a
interesting.
I saw the trailer and I was like, what the fuck is this movie? Like, if you just have the trailer with no context, it's kind of weird.
I do feel like this must have struggled to find an audience because don't get me wrong, people my age and older absolutely 100% should see this, especially if you watched it. Little spoiler, upcoming me and friend of the show Regan are starting a new epic journey into podcasting that's going to be coming very soon, and one of the very first episodes is on the original Naked Gun movie. So it is something that I grew up with and I'm very, very passionate about. And it's it's the new movie. It does a lot of things right. Okay, it's a nostalgia trip. It takes a lot of the things from the first movie and without satiring them, without making fun of them, it just does them in a more modern way. So things like much like good movies that you might have seen, like Airplane, or good satires like Hot Shots, there are constant running jokes through the movie and running jokes in the background. So like a running joke in this is he's constantly been handed coffee. He will have just been handed a coffee and he'll take another one. Stupid things like that build up over the movie and you notice them going off all the time. And honestly, I think it's an effective revival of the franchise. Like, I don't know how much money it's made. I should have really looked at that before we started. But for me, with that nostalgia and that love for these characters, it's a really nice. I'm going to say it's a rebootuation. I think it's technically a continuation, but it is very much in that it's a reboot of the franchise. Liam Neeson's great in it. Pamela Anderson is also a delight. You know, I hate Liam Neeson. You know my feelings about goddamn Liam Neeson. But even with him in this, it's enjoyable. I think without that nostalgia, does it hold up as a movie on its own? Great question. Unsure. I'd love to speak to someone who's seen this but not seen the originals. I almost have to ask the question, like,
That's
would
my job,
you see this if you hadn't seen the originals? Yeah. You need to go and see it.
I guess you've tasked me with something. No, I don't. I will, sure. Once it's on whatever, I'll watch it.
Yeah, streaming of some description. Yeah, okay. I recommend it. Highly recommend for someone who has seen the franchise. Yourself, I do want you to go away and watch it and tell me how you feel about it. It's I don't know how an outsider, fuck that sounds mean, how someone who has not experienced this franchise or grown up with it would feel about it. Would they enjoy? I don't know. That is a really tough one to call. So let us know in the comments maybe if you're on our YouTube channel and you've seen it and or you know about the history of this franchise. I'd love to know. Let us know. Give us some of that sweet engagement. We need it. We need that sweet engagement. Guys, is there anything that we haven't talked about that you would recommend? Let us know in the comments or roundabouts, wherever you are. Send us memes, send us news, send us reviews. You can get us at Podcast Assemble on Instagram or thepodcastassemble@gmail.com. Find us, send us things. We love it when you do. DL, do you want to preface our main topic this week?
It's the main topic theme.
This week we've decided to, it's a pretty obvious one.
It's in the title of the show.
Yeah, to take our podcast from one week to the next and do one battle after another. This one was getting, quite a bit of love.
100% on Rotten Tomatoes and things.
Yeah, all over.
Yeah.
And it was kind of a no-brainer to go watch. Obviously, pretty big cast. You got Leo as kind of the leading man, Benicio del Toro as Sensei. Sensei Sergio San Carlos.
I loved him. He was great in this.
Yeah, he's good. Sean Penn as kind of this, weird alt-right Colonel Stephen Che Lockjaw.
Colonel Stephen Lockjaw.
What a name. Tons of other like kind of random people you've heard of before. I think the daughter would probably be one that we'd have to talk about, which is, what's her name?
She is Chase Infinity, played by Willa. You would know her from the show you talked to me about somewhat recently called Presumed Innocent.
Yeah, that's where she was from. I couldn't place it in the theater.
Yeah. I liked Tana Taylor in this. His Perfidia was pretty great as well.
Yeah.
Perfidia, I'm never going to say that right. Really, really like that character. Before we do get into it though, DL, do you have a stupid plot summary for this?
I do. But one quick question. Paul Thomas Anderson, what else has he done? Because it's a very famous director.
So many things. There Will Be Blood, Boogie Nights, Magnolia. Remember some of these because they may come back up in trivia. True or false?
Interesting. So he's a big deal.
He is a big deal. Although sparse career, like it's very much laid out. Known for his intense characters.
Okay, cool. Yeah, my stupid plot summary is kind of exactly, it is a summary. I think the dumb summary of this movie is Hollywood's pushback on ICE, Leo's second stage of evolution into Jack Nicholson, and proof the algorithm's divisive black magic continues to be profitable. That's about what I'd take away from this movie. Yeah.
He is becoming Jack Nicholson very slowly, isn't he?
Yeah, movie by movie.
Exactly. A sinister partner. He is starting to look his age. Hey, he's definitely, I mean, what is he, 50 now? Almost pushing 50.
Yeah, he has been a bit, but I think also this one, they made him look worse than he probably could look.
Probably. I mean,
I think
almost,
on purpose.
Almost certainly. Almost certainly, yeah. All right, my super plot summary is very simply, okay, I can speak. Coming of age has never been so anarchic. This is, for all this movie claimed to be, this is effectively a coming of age film. And one of the things I was,
half of it is.
Yeah.
So there's turns into that.
Yeah, it's look, we're going to talk about it. I'm going to call out like right up top that you said exactly right. It's a critical darling. Rotten Tomatoes 100%. There are such big tonal shifts in this movie from certain stages of it to other stages. I'd say there's probably 3 big shifts, with the third one being very much at the end. I didn't know how to take it. It made it a tough watch for me. It was like not like whiplash. It didn't necessarily flow from one to the other. And I liked this film. I didn't love it the way the critics seem to love it. Is that too harsh thing to say?
No, I enjoyed it, but an 8.5 on IMDb felt like, what did I miss? You know, like what was I not getting that like everyone else seemed to?
Right.
I think it's like kind of overrated, and I think it's cathartic for these like, liberal reviewers and critics to have something so like targeted to what they care about and a statement on it. That I think it's being overrated for that.
Yeah, look, I'm 100% across all that. I think that's pretty much right. I would call out as well, I don't think, whether intentionally or not, I think the trailers for this are very tonally off. They are, if you've seen the trailers for this movie, to me, I don't think they're very representative of what I was watching. So I went into this thinking this was going to be a dark comedy with, serious satirical moments. And it just wasn't. It just wasn't. It was quite jarring.
I think it is. It has dark comedy moments, but
right. I think it's way more subtle with its comedy than I was expecting, and I wasn't expecting this to be what we were just talking about, Naked Gun. Not at all. I'm just saying I thought this. It was quite jarring to me coming in and thinking one thing about this from what I've seen in the trailers, and it just being wildly different. And I get that when it's an A24 movie, but when you're walking in, it's Paul Thomas Anderson, Leonardo DiCaprio movie, you're just like, I'm not sure about this. So what's the plot? Like, what happens in this?
You're basically watching. I mean, it's like kind of it seems like it's a modern or in the near future version of America. They never really qualify that, do they?
Yeah, I wondered that actually.
I think they use a couple cities' names, but I don't know if they're real cities. America's a big place. But it's like clearly like sanctuary cities. It's using all these like names that like are politically charged in the modern dynamic. So in the modern political dynamic and landscape. So I think it's clearly meant to be America. And they talk about they basically follow a story of like rebels to what they call a fascist, I think, regime. As they kind of continually push back. And these guys aren't bozos. They're not experts, which is part of the like. Yeah, there's a part of me where they're too lackadaisical, and there would be a bit of that in a rebellion, but it's almost so much so I'm like, you never stood a chance. Like, how are you having any success? But like,
there's almost like polar opposites within the groups. Yeah, completely.
Yeah, but and you follow them on their kind of journey from like rebellion, successful, loving it, to a downfall, into kind of a almost 2 decades later gap that follows a follow-up story to these characters that kind of have broken up and moved on with their lives, but are kind of pulled back in, as you say, with some stuff I can't talk about. Yeah, but that's the TLDR. Yeah, too long didn't watch TLDW.
A new segment of the show, TLDW. 100%. And one of the things I found really almost confronting about this film was how I suppose confronting was how lusty it started off. It was literally just the horniest film for the first 15 minutes I've ever seen. I was like, holy shit.
That's definitely purposeful.
Completely, yeah. It's a very purposeful movie. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I completely agree. I'm going to bring back a quick segment before we get into this that I started maybe last week and would love to bring back, which is quite simply, DL, if you could remake this movie right now, and everybody in it, the entire cast were Muppets, but you kept one as a human character. Who is the human character and why?
I think there's an obvious answer of like Benicio del Toro.
Oh, as a human character. That's
with a bunch of Muppets.
That'd be hilarious.
But I don't know. What's your? You obviously have someone in mind.
I don't. I actually have someone in mind if you were to flip that, where it was just one character was a Muppet and the rest were all human.
I mean, Leo clearly being a Muppet would be hilarious.
If you had Colonel Lockjaw as a Muppet, that would be the best. Would it not? The best flip on this ever. You just have I can just imagine him as what's the one in the garbage can? That one. Just that angry fucking
Grouch.
Yeah, the Grouch. You just have him as the Grouch. Yeah. That'd be absolutely epic. I totally imagine that for this film. I don't know. One person kept as a human. Probably the daughter would be pretty great. I actually really liked her, Willa. She was good. Good peoples in this. It was
she's
certainly interesting. Going back, sorry, to talking about the film being lusty. I do feel like the movie sort of reflects the focus character in its the feeling you get from it, that how it portrays the film. So, like at the beginning, it's anarchy, it's lust, and then in the middle, it flips to almost like chaos, or an unfocused mind just becomes really unfocused, and then by the end, it's sort of about evolution, it's about family, and it's interesting that the POV character in those moments reflects how the movie interacts, almost how it's filmed, how it's delivered, technically how it is shot. And I found that really interesting. Is that how you felt about this?
I think there's definitely like tonal changes and how it like all sorts of stuff like in the 3 arcs. Yeah. Really, I couldn't tell if it's 3 or 2, but
it's mostly 2, but there's a little one just clubbed in at the end. Like they managed to just club.
Yeah,
it's a tiny little log at the end.
I didn't feel like misled because I honestly didn't really know what this movie was good. Like the trailers weren't super plot exploratory. Like you knew there was some rebellion.
Yeah,
you knew and there was some oddities like with the sensei moment with the gun, like where you're like, okay, this isn't going to be like a typical movie. There's going to be some goofiness to it. I didn't feel misled, but I did feel oftentimes like, what is the point, or like, what are we trying to say? I was entertained the whole time, but there were large portions where I was kind of like, good cut.
I 100% agree. I felt the pacing wasn't great. It was an interesting dynamic because you're absolutely right. The pacing to me was off. Like there were large swaths of this that I felt could have done with like a second viewing or maybe a chip down. But at the same time, the thing that really worked for me in this was the propulsive energy of it. Like I didn't ever feel like anyone was sitting still. Even when Leo was just sitting on the couch smoking weed, it felt like there was something behind him about to push him forwards at all time. And I think that came from the split focus of the Lockjaw character and sort of almost for some of it being like a lingering anti-hero is the complete wrong word, antagonist, just sort of lingering there, like in the background, keeping you in mind that he's always coming. So I thought that worked really well, but you're absolutely right. I think it was sort of odds with the fact that there were these big swaths of the movie that could have done with maybe an extra go over in the chopping booth.
I think that like some parts of it felt supernatural and some parts of it felt super manufactured. Like meaning like we're trying
not
to be
not supernatural, supernatural.
Super comma natural. And some parts felt really manufactured to like make their satirical point.
Yeah.
And that was jarring to me at times where I was like, can you make the right a little bit more believable in some fashion instead of this like character of a caricature of a caricature of itself? Because the left wasn't like the people rebelling only had moments of that, and so it felt more real, like grounded in realism. Whereas the other side felt, I know Trump says some wild things. I know the right is crazy, but like it didn't feel nearly as grounded in like somebody actually, you know, being real. Like, what is this Christmas stuff? Like, what was going on there?
Let's talk about that. Let's talk about that.
To be honest, I didn't even look this up, so I obviously have theories, right? Like, but it's pretty on the nose. I think maybe.
I mean, they talk about Hail Christmas. So surely, I'm pretty sure it's a satanic cult running the government, right? Like in the shadows,
white power,
white supremacist, satanic. Yeah. It's all sort of layered in there. Oh, that's right. They say Hail Santa. I was literally like, come on. What are you
like the Christmas Adventurers Club?
Yeah, the Christmas Adventure Club. That was literally my next note was Christmas Adventure Club ? So in the background of this movie, and this isn't really spoilers, you could probably gather this. There is a sort of secret white supremacist led, I'm going to say it's satanic, that's just how I felt about it, club who were quintessentially pulling the strings in the background, and Lockjaw was trying to join the club. I don't want to get too deep into this so we don't get to spoilers, but it was very on the nose. And that's one of the things I think for me that maybe I just felt the message, agreeing with you entirely. I think the message was a bit muddled. I do think it lacked a bit of ambiguity as well. There were times when it would go out of its way to completely explain a thing, and maybe we'll talk more about this in spoilers, where I felt like it didn't matter as much to know 100% the truth. I was like, leave this a bit ambiguous, like let the audience's imagination fill in the gaps here and there. But it felt for some reason it needed to do that for you. And I don't know. Maybe I'm agreeing with you. Muddled. I don't know. It just didn't quite hit for me at times.
I think what I needed was more satire. Like if you're gonna be so on the nose on the right, which I get the point they're making. Like they're saying, like, oftentimes things are kind of portrayed in this veneer of innocuousness. Like it's innocuous. It's just some guy speaking his mind for civil right or for free speech. When it's like obviously more of a grift for much darker purposes to manipulate a dumb group of people. Like I get that. And I just feel like if you're doing a satire on political extremism, if you only put the veneer up for one side, like it feels tonally off. And that's what I felt like this movie did. Like, I don't think we saw a lot of like kind of really absurd things on the left, which like as a registered kind of Democrat would love to have seen explored and put in the limelight as well, to be like, hey guys, the algorithm is driving us both to these really weird places that none of us believe. Like, and that was kind of like, it's like they wanted to tell a really cool story on that side, and they needed like a dark villain, and that part was satirical. So it just felt a little bit tonally off. But we're kind of, I think I've already said that.
I completely agree. I think the film thought it was polarizing in how it was portraying all this stuff, immigration, state power, etc., etc. But I felt it was very much through, like you're saying, through the lens of the left in many ways.
Yeah.
And it didn't pose a balanced enough argument for you to feel it was the bad guy. Does that make sense? It was just it was almost putting you in the echo chamber. It was almost pushing you a certain direction at times. And the lack of balance, the lack of ambiguity is kind of what let it down for me in many ways. I don't think any of the performances were bad. In fact, I think everyone was great in this.
That's why it was a good movie still, because you watch it and you're entertained. I was entertained. Yeah.
Yeah. Perfidia, she had this raw energy. She was just magnetic every scene she was in. I don't know Teyana Taylor from much. I don't think she's got a huge movie career, but she's got a big one ahead of her.
Yeah,
like
fair.
Just every scene she was in, she was more entertaining than Leo was in scenes, and that is super interesting. Really, really awesome character work. What did you think of Leo's character in this? Obviously, flawed Bob.
I think Leo's. I thought his character was interesting for sure.
Yeah.
I thought he was going to be like the when I started the movie, I thought they were going a different way after like the first act. I thought he was going to be like the representative of like the flawed centrist, and all the extremes were going to be around him. And like the theme, the through line was going to be like, how do I impart, like in a world like this, what matters? Like, and is it like, it's not just what you're fighting against. It's kind of like what you're fighting for. And they were going to lean into that. Like, hey, how do I help my daughter navigate this crazy world? me as
And they
a
had that set up
clearly
perfectly,
flawed,
yeah,
not
yeah.
perfect, who's on both, like, you know, like, he's not like this you can't, there's no heroes. Like, he's pretty useless half the movie. But they kind
I
of
think they
went,
had that set up perfectly. They could have done
they
that.
did kind
Like,
of
they
do
had
that, but they didn't really do it. They, like, had elements of it.
well, they had Lockjaw, who was the extreme right, and they had Perfidia, who was the extreme le as in, like, the extremes here. We're talking about, like, you know,
Yeah.
the pinnacle of each, and that could have been that's a really interesting story. I wonder if that's perhaps what they should have leaned into.
And to be fair, some would argue they did, because they would say, like,
Some ways.
Perfidia was, like, super, super, super idealistic, and then when push came to shove, like, when principles matter is when it's, like, at the greatest cost, right? She
Absolutely,
wasn't.
absolutely.
So you could argue that they did kinda touch on that, but it was really it was only for 20 minutes really of the movie.
Yeah, and like I say, it's a long movie. What do you cut out of that? Do you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah. Well, the last, I guess you could, I'm kind of now convincing myself the other way. You could argue the lasting effects of her decision were debilitating to their movement.
sure. Yeah, 100%.
That's something when you see people, like, whatever you'll say about, like, Charlie Kirk, when you see people dying, like, cheering, "Hey, yeah, fuck Charlie Kirk, he's been murdered." Like, you're probably not helping your movement long term. Like, that kind of
Right.
stuff. Maybe you could argue, although that obviously happened way after this movie was filmed. You could argue though that kind of stuff was embodied in the film too.
Yeah, and like I say, he doesn't shy away from, you know, being as political as it is in
Yeah.
any sense, in almost to its detriment. And I think a little bit more ambiguity, as I say, probably would have really helped.
But overall, I liked Leo's performance, to your question.
Great
I think
performance.
I thought
Really
he
good
was
performance.
hilarious. I think there's, like, a new era of Leo where he's not an action
I
hero.
hope
He's not a
so.
heartthrob. He's leaning
I
into,
hope
like,
so.
him being kind of like a schmucky comedy, like, you know, not even schmucky, but just like a bit useless and comedy behind it. That's his last two big movies. He's played that character. Rick Dalton was kind of useless.
He's done a couple of those. I do love the Benicio del Toro character. That was probably my favorite in the film.
Yeah.
That on its own, I tell you what, man, if you just took that character and you took away everything else, Leo could just be flitting in and out of his world. That's a really interesting story in this. It's about family and people's rights and, you know, standing up for the little guy. That microcosm story within this film was almost more interesting than the broader film, and I really wanted to see more of that.
He was like the quintessential, like, just take life as it comes, you know, do what you can. We're always this
Did
is
you not think he was part of the resistance?
he is. Yeah, he is, but he's not, like,
Yeah, I thought so
letting
too.
that he's not letting him being a part of the resistance distort his soul. Like, you know,
Sure.
he's just kind of being himself, and I think that's a statement too.
Kept his
Like, there's something
chi.
interesting there too. He's just, like, in it. He's like, this is part of life. You have to help people. You have to, you know, fight for what you believe in, but you can't become what you hate. Like, that's what it seemed like to me, and that was his, like, whole thing with him. Like, hey, you know, ocean waves, ocean waves.
I really wanted to see more of his story, man. It was so good. It was so interesting. There were a couple of other good characters in it to call out. I really liked Regina Hall as Deandra, who was the one who brought Willow out of the school. It'll make more sense when we're talking spoilers. And I just really liked that Shayna McHale, that jungle pussy performance. It had something about it. It almost had like a Quentin Tarantino-esque edge to it. You know, I'm thinking
It
of like
did,
Jackie
yeah, it
Brown,
did.
that type of movie. Ripped straight out of that and thrown into this movie, and it had like such a different vibe to it than a lot of the other characters. She really stood out for me. I really like that. Anything else to talk about before we sort of start edging towards spoilers?
No, I think Sean Penn was really good.
Really good. He had that
Like,
funniest
he
walk
had a
in this.
whole
Did you notice
character.
his
Like,
walk?
all the traits
He's-
was nailed.
He must have been on so much human growth hormone for this film. He was jacked. He was massive. Did you see like the vascularity of his arms? Like his veins were like popping out.
He was, like, jacked, but also small.
He's a short dude, I think,
Yeah, he just looked small.
compared to some of the characters. Yeah, I
Like,
like
I
that
think he
about
was
him.
perfectly cast, and like, his whole look was well done.
Almost like little man syndrome. It worked really well. I need to write this down because there is a great bit in the ending that I haven't even put in my spoilers, and I think that character. I can't say he has an arc in this specifically, but he has traits to him that make him really stand out, and it really informs his character in interesting ways. It goes through the film. I really liked what it did with the character. It was really interesting.
Yeah, no, I don't hate like that critique. Again, it felt really on the nose compared to others, but it was a good critique. It's like somebody who hates themselves, hates what they hate the actual thing that they're attracted to. He's a foil to like Leo, I think, in a lot of ways. Leo's character, and then like doesn't realize they're being used, right? Based off, I think,
Definitely.
the ending.
I have a really good likeness to that character. I'll jump on it when we get to spoilers because it might give a little bit away. One really cool thing before we move on from talking about performances, Taylor did all of her own stunts in this. Pretty cool. There's a great scene that's in the trailer of her with that massive machine gun, just like it's a good character. I like that. Do you have then, DL, any tones and or themes for this film?
Clearly there's like regret, reconciliation with the mom, with Leo, with and the lack of it in Lockjaw. I think like parenthood and sacrifice and like both sides of that. When you look at the
coming of age,
Leo and coming of age for sure. And I think the persistence, like the like longevity of like ideology and conflict. Like you can't really, it affects generations, right? What you choose to fight for and what you choose to fight against is kind of something that you pass on, just like your DNA. The effects of it on your kids, whether they agree or disagree, they will feel the effects of it. Yeah,
I had anarchy, even anarchy versus like maturing, like where you fit in that world as you mature. Super interesting. Lust and the power, the power of seduction, basically by being seduced by either of the wings, left or right. Very deep film, like very meaningful, very poignant. I thought there was a lot to it. Maybe too much, maybe too much, as we've talked about. Do you have a 3 best, 3 worst for this?
I say 3 best would be the general acting performance across
Amazing.
the cast.
Great performances.
Like it just goes to show when you have good acting, it does a lot, right? And good writing. Like there was no like dialogue that was terrible.
Right.
The dialogue was good too.
I think it's a technically really well made movie, from the acting to the writing to the sourcing of locations. All of it is just like incredibly well put together.
I loved the comedic elements to it.
Definitely, Stone Leo was great.
Like when he just like falls off the roof. It was so
that's one of the best scenes.
And he's just like Sensei. He fell 40 feet off the roof. The cops tasered him and took him in.
Can you imagine that? You fall 40 feet and then you get tasered immediately after that. I can't think of anything worse. That'd be so bad. You'd be like,
It was like there were moments like that were pretty fucking funny.
I enjoyed that a lot. I think all of Stoned Leo was great. Just very good. That whole arc.
And the scenes where they're interviewing the kids, like those were great. Like there are like real like not even dark, just like, I feel you comedy moments. I don't know if they were even that dark.
I don't think they were dark. I think they were subtle. I think they were very subtly played, except for falling off a roof, which was bloody hilarious. That whole scene.
It was out of nowhere,
whole scene
though.
where, well, I don't know. Like he's like these kids are basically like kind of parkouring across rooftops, and he's chasing them. And he's so much slower, and he's so like he's just like they're like jumping over bits, and he's like taking the ladders and stuff. It's so it builds to that scene. That's the perfect build in the scene. It's really well done. I don't really have anything else to add to your 3 best outside of. I mean, it's adding to your performances piece. I did have Lockjaw as one of my best. I just like that. The way he was just so engaged in the role, I felt he just felt like he'd done all of his research and watched American Beauty a million times. It was a really, really good performance. What about worst?
Yeah, there was another thing I was going to say for best, because I think I only did 2, which was like the cinematography in certain moments I really liked, with like the car chase. That was pretty cool.
Just going to talk about that when we got spoilers. That ending car chase. Yeah, so good. A different perspective on some cinematography shots. Like a lot. This isn't breaking many boundaries in terms of how it's filmed. It's filmed beautifully, but it isn't pushing boundaries in a lot of senses. But that one scene where you basically you're on the bumper of the car, right? You are the front of the car.
I would imagine.
As it's driving.
Yeah, that's what they've done.
It was just really good, and like it gave you the sense of urgency that scene needed because you could see what's ahead of you. Really, really nicely put together. Really like that shot.
Big plot hole for me, which we'll talk about in spoilers, but with like the ending of that car chase and why a certain person was chasing another person, like I was just like, you guys did not clarify that. So that's a big miss for me. I think just some level of balanced view on the extreme left, other than the start of the movie, I think would have helped this film.
Agreed.
And then what about like I'm not sure how I feel about the score. There were times where it annoyed me, and there were times where I liked it.
It was off-putting, I think.
Yeah.
It had like a I keep coming back to the word confronting, but like in like a not confronting in a way that makes you think. It was just a bit off at times, and it threw me out of the picture a lot of the time. So yeah, like I agree with that one for sure. I think it was too weighed down with its own tones and themes. Yeah, I don't think I have anything really to add to your worst, to be perfectly honest with you. I think I completely agree. It did get weighed down by its own themes at times. There was maybe too much to it. Could have done with maybe a second run through the editing street. In terms of technically, really, really nice put together film. So yeah, I completely agree with your worsts. What we do now is let's talk a little bit about that critical reception, DL. You've already seen it, but can you guess me the very current, right now, the current IMDb score for this?
Saw it last night, so it's 8.5, unless it changed overnight.
8.6.
Oh, wow.
Or it was when I looked earlier. So, I mean, it is getting really high praise, right? Like it is getting absolutely loved. What about Rotten Tomatoes, DL? What do you reckon? I know this was 100% when it first came out. Think it held?
No. It's probably like 96 something.
So I wonder what it is. I wonder what it is right now. Let me check while you say that. Do you think it's 96?
I anticipate that it would be 96. 96er.
You, my friend, are bang on the money. It is 96. That's insane. That's wild. It's actually gone down 1% since I looked. It's 85.
Look at that.
It's 8.5 and 96. That is so wild. All right, finally then, guess me the Letterboxd score, which is always 3.6, but never 3 points.
It's 3.9.
4.5.
Yeah, that's wild.
Wow, people are loving this film. We have to ask this question. The internet is binary, so we have our own ratings. We don't give a 5.5 out of 7. We don't do, out of percentages. We just say, is this better or worse than the most average movie we know, which is Aquaman 2018 and why? DL, what do you reckon?
It's definitely better. I mean, that's not a crazy statement.
I think technically it's certainly, everything, technically about this, the writing, the acting. You know what? It's a better movie. But if you ask me to go back and watch this right now, do I want to go back and watch this again? I guess that's not the point of the movie. It's. I feel like it's supposed to be confronting and make you think, obviously. Whereas Aquaman is the opposite. It makes you stop, think.
Yeah. Totally. You just lay like a fish out of water.
Exactly. It's better than Aquaman 2018. Should we do a little bit of spoilers? Should we do a big spoilers?
Yeah, let's go run through it. Come on. Run at the spoils.
So one of the key plot points of this is Perfidia, who is Willa's mum, who we've talked about, who's great in this, is effectively, I know my partner had a different point of view on this to me. My point of view was she was effectively blackmailed by Colonel Lockjaw into sleeping with him. So effectively kicking off the second part of the film, which is she goes into witness protection because she rats on all her friends and then leaves Lockjaw and runs away into Mexico. What was your perception of that? How did you feel about that whole character arc and what went on there?
I mean, they kept it like kind of vague, I thought. Like she clearly didn't have to go to that hotel. Like the one time we see them together that intimately, she clearly was like caught, but he like let her out and she didn't have to go.
Right. And she could do whatever she wanted. So I feel like she was partly blackmailed, but at the same time
she was free. She still did. Like, I mean, maybe you could argue, of course he blackmailed her. Like he tried to at least. And then she either caved to that. She doesn't seem like the kind of person though that would have been scared of that.
No.
Once she was out of the building. So to me, it's not like she was like overpowered by fear. It was like part of her was intrigued by the fact that this guy was sexually attracted to her. Like,
I
and
completely agree.
like that was my read. But like everyone's entitled to their own, and it did imply through like additional like context. We didn't see them together again, except for after she like rats on everybody. But I almost it implied to me that this was like an ongoing thing that had happened after that as well.
Couple of times, yeah. I like you don't see that, but at the same time, it gives you that impression just by how. I mean, like he's obviously hugely sexually attracted to her, has a huge amount of lust for her, but falling in love with her after just one night stand, like
It could be something though that like they're saying about this like alt-right culture of like has one sexual
totally.
experience and like is like like they're so pent up that like it all really so like it could go both ways, to be honest. I don't know.
Gotta say, I'm with you, Colonel Lockjaw. I
Yeah.
love your motives. That leaving though, Perfidia leaving, so it goes from this chaos, as I say, anarchy and lust and everything happening all at once, changes the whole dynamic of the film, and you skip forward then, and Leo is 16 years, right? He's been raising the daughter. I had mixed feelings about the turn of the film when it happened. It sort of felt jarring, but I kind of got it. I think it was more the way Perfidia left the film. It sort of left me wanting a lot. I was like, this. I didn't feel it jived with her character. I'm going to be completely honest with you. But that's when the rest of the story that I was expecting in the trailer kicks off. So, what did you think of Leo's attempt at being a dad?
I don't know, I mean, it seems fair. Like it's a single, like, you know what I mean? Like it'd be
Yeah,
hard. He's obviously got some big fucking, you know, like how's he even make a
yeah.
living?
Great question.
It'd be a pretty tough gig. I thought it was a good representation of like a single dad in that scenario. When you say you didn't thought it fit the character, were you talking about that she ratted or that she came back? Sorry, I didn't catch that. That she the are you talking about the mom?
More so the way she just vanished. I felt like it
Oh,
like either it was trying to point out that she was actually a coward all along, which didn't like at the beginning it didn't seem to fit with her character. Either she was a coward all along and couldn't face up to what she was doing, or there's something that I'm just completely missing because something didn't fit there the way she just swanned off into Mexico and left.
yeah, I think it was just pointing out like passion only gets you so far. You have to have principles.
Sure. Sure,
Yeah,
absolutely.
I think that's what it was. I think it was trying to say that.
I think this is the only real point of ambiguity in the film that I had any feelings about, really. Like there's a lot that could be left ambiguous. So like one of the big plots of this film is that we've talked about the what are they called? The Christmas I've completely forgot the name of them. The
Christmas
Christmas Adventure
Adventure
Club.
Club. Yeah.
The Christmas Adventure Club, there is this subplot effectively whereby Lockjaw is trying to become a member of this satanic you
Satanic.
know,
I think it's just like a KKK
cult. Dude, they literally say "Hail Santa" at one point. Literally those words while doing something along these lines.
Hail Hitler, though, I think, is, like, my point. I think it's, like, fascist.
Well, we're now gonna clip that out and
Yeah,
put
right?
Look, white
Yeah.
supremacy, it's a lot of it could be both. It could be all of it. Who knows? Lockjaw's trying to join this very exclusive gang and is almost getting there, but there's this concern that maybe he had sexual relations with Perfidia and that maybe Willa is his daughter. Here's one of the things that I really felt would have been great if they just left it completely ambiguous. I didn't want to know that whether or not she was his daughter. Like, she chose who her dad was. She made that decision herself. I just felt like that whole scene, he does the whole goddamn paternity test on camera. It all happens and you're sitting. He's literally sat waiting for it to happen, and I'm sitting in the cinema going, all right, we're really going to do this, are we? We're really going to wait for this to happen to find out. Just leave it ambiguous. Make it so that he's just so crazed by whether she might or might not be that he just has to get her out. I don't know. Like, it doesn't matter to him almost at this point. And it just felt a little bit paint by numbers. I was just like, don't tell me. Just leave something to my imagination. I don't know if you felt the same.
Well, I mean, like, I ask you, like, what is it being what is ambiguous what does leaving that part ambiguous do for the story?
I think I personally think there's a lot. I think if you don't know, it's almost he has to make this snap decision between, taking and effectively the subtext here is that he takes the daughter to be killed, right?
Yeah.
Like, that's going to happen either way. the Christmas Adventure Club believe it could be his daughter. So what does it matter?
He doesn't know
gonna
that,
have to kill her. He's gonna have to kill her. Yeah, but he's gonna have to kill her one way or another. Why else is he trying to get rid of her? My interpretation of that was very much that he felt that Christmas Adventure Club would find out about it if they hadn't already, and he had to then get rid of the daughter, regardless. So it didn't matter in my limited perspective, it didn't matter whether she was his daughter or not. He was always going to have to try and kill her off somehow or whatever he was going to have done with her. So I was like, a bit of ambiguity there adds to his madness about his, desire to be part of that satanic, whatever they are, cult. And I'm just like, show him being at his weakest by doing anything to get into the club, killing his own potential daughter. Like, it doesn't matter. I don't know. Maybe that's just my perspective. How did you see it?
I think he didn't know that they were aware of him, obviously, having this. And so it's interesting to have him have to make the choice.
I felt like he was always going to do it anyway.
But like that's not what he said. Like his own words
People
were,
lie, dude. I don't know. I hate to tell you this.
Words were,
a revelation for you.
well, if that's the case, then why did he do it? Why did he do the test? I think it was to justify what he knew he needed to do. Whereas, like, if that she wasn't, his kid, he could theoretically say, like, I haven't done anything wrong, and deny that he ever had sex. But the evidence is there, and so it forces him to make the choice, good side or dark side, because he's obviously, even him, is in conflict with his feelings about this. Is I think the point. And so, what does he eventually care about more?
And I guess there is an ambiguity there too. Yeah. I guess there is an ambiguity there too, which is kind of. I think they're both great perspectives. I personally would have liked it if there was just that little bit extra. I guess what we're talking to here, the second half of the movie is we find out that Lockjaw has found Bob, Leonardo DiCaprio's character, through finding one of the other members of La Resistance, and then they go on this chase where effectively Bob and Willa get separated, and Willa's taken to a nunnery where Colonel finds her and then effectively sends her off to be killed. The final action scene is probably the most heart-pumping part of the film for me. That the car chase, I found that really cool. I'm surprised it carried on though. I felt that scene where they were having a shootout at the church, and I'm not saying Leo's in any way capable of out snipering a bunch of military guys, but there was something quite poetic about it sort of coming to a head in the church, and maybe even the white supremacists Christmas club like rocking up and sort of being part of it too. There's something quite nice and symbolic about that sort of felt like a good ending, and then it just kind of carried on.
Yeah.
Do you know? I don't know if you felt the same.
I mean, they wanted to give it a bit more closure, I think. I don't know.
I think he really wanted to do that cool shot. I think that's just the reason they did that car chase. So he could do the shot on the bottom of the car. It just looked freaking cool. The idea then that the Christmas Adventure Club come back and kill Lockjaw, or attempt to kill Lockjaw effectively in the car. There's some great American Beauty parallels to that character. Like that Kevin Spacey character, older dude wants to sort of like hook up with the young chick, and like he wants the thing he can't have, and there's some really weird. And I walked out of the cinema been a bit like, I feel like I've seen that before.
Yeah. It is odd that they had him chase the daughter though. What was the other guy's name?
Which one, Lockjaw? Or?
No, Lockjaw's like the end. Like, why did they have him chasing the daughter? That's a bit of a plot hole, isn't it? Like, why was he chasing her? How did he even know she was there?
I think he thought it was Lockjaw in the car. I don't know, actually. That's a very good point. Maybe he thought that Lockjaw had given her to the scenario, given her to the Native American dude who was trying to drive off with her.
There's a lot of assumptions.
It was a bit strange. Yeah, there were a lot of leaps of logic in that one scene. I guess the funniest part of it was that Lockjaw didn't actually die in the Inferno.
No,
and, it was so interesting when he went. What I suppose
why would you go back?
I suppose he wouldn't have maybe known it was a Christmas Adventure Club guy, but he did.
He looked at him in the eyes. It was the guy.
Yeah,
so he's obviously in denial.
Maybe he's just that devout. Maybe he's just that guy.
Yeah, I don't know.
A lot happened in this film, and I don't know if it all necessarily thematically aligned. Was there anything else you want to say in spoilers at all?
No, I think we covered it. I mean, there's a letter from the mom at the end. which is kind of cool. Yeah.
I don't know. Did you like that? I found that really tonally odd.
It's kind of a throw in. I mean, it's cool for the character of the daughter because she was obviously lost.
And it kind of felt like they were trying to give her a redemption arc when she didn't deserve it in any way, shape, or form.
I didn't get it. It wasn't needed. It wasn't needed. But I didn't really care for it or one way or the other.
Not a bad film. Not a bad film.
No.
Not a great film. Don't know if it's 96% or whatever it's on Rotten Tomatoes.
It definitely feels a bit overrated, but I enjoyed it.
100% agree.
Yeah.
Do you want to do a bit of trivia, true or false?
Sure. Let's do it.
Let's do it. Trivia true, trivia false, DL. Paul Thomas Anderson previously approached Leonardo DiCaprio to play Paul Sunday. The role had eventually went to Paul Dano in There Will Be Blood. DiCaprio declined. Is that true or is that false?
I mean, when I think back that far, wasn't like Leo in his What's Eating Gilbert Grape era? Like not a far jump to be the Paul Dano character is pretty weird if I remember correctly.
He is a bit weird in that film. I mean, he's weird in every film.
Sure, true.
It's close, but it's not actually true. Paul Thomas Anderson did approach DiCaprio to play Dirk Diggler in Boogie Nights, but DiCaprio actually turned it down in that exact era to play Titanic. So it was 1997.
Good choice.
He since has expressed regretting the decision, though. He said, it was a profound movie of my generation. When I finally got to see it, I just thought it was a masterpiece. That is an unbelievable movie.
It's a great movie, but dude, you made a lot of money because of Titanic.
He clearly did all right out of Titanic, I feel like.
I think that was
his
the right
entire
move.
career was set up. Yeah, absolutely. And also working with James Cameron, who doesn't want to do that at this stage?
Yeah, dude.
Okay. 0-1. You 0 for 1 at this point. I got you. You fell into my trap. Trivia true, trivia false, DL. Cast includes 3 Academy Award winners. Can you tell me who they are?
Benicio del Toro, Leonardo DiCaprio, Sean Penn, surely.
The 3 obvious ones. Yeah, it's the 3 obvious ones. And Sean Penn. Good cast. I mean, like we've talked about it already, but like really, really solid cast of this. Finally then, DL. Paul Thomas Anderson. This is Paul Thomas Anderson's most expensive film yet, with a budget reportedly of $130 million. Is that true or is that false?
That's probably. What else did he do? Yeah, it's probably true.
It is true. It's reportedly between 130 and 175 million, despite his highest grossing movie being There Will Be Blood, that only made 67 million upon release. So I'm assuming this probably isn't making money right now. Let's quickly check. What is this making right now?
Full theater. I bet it is.
You were in a full theater. Wow, I reckon there were 10 people in our cinema. It was we did go at like 5 o'clock on a Friday, to be fair. So maybe not. I think ultimately, I liked this film. I just didn't love it the way it seems that a lot of people are doing, which, is a very beautifully created film, testament to Paul Thomas Anderson, really well created. There's just something, and I completely agree with your comments up top. It just, something doesn't stick the landing. DL, do you want to wrap up the show?
Of course, man. Thank you.
Woo!
Give us a review, give us a share, all that good stuff. A big thank you to Matthew Bliss for mastering and editing this week's episode. If you'd like to have him on the team, get in touch at business@mpod.com or head to mpod.com to find out more about what he's doing and his services. If you want to hear his work, he's got a new podcast called Rethink Podcasting. Rethink : Podcasting. And short thought pieces on topics of podcasting shared over a cup of coffee. That's it, man. Until next time.
We did it, baby. I was trying to look up how much it made at the box office and ran out of time. Thank you, DL, for sticking with me.
Yeah, no problem. Thank you, Tommy. Tally ho. And good luck and good night.
Later, skaters.
Yeah.